cowboy. On a steel horse I ride. I was wanted. It or kind of has that feel. It's like at a shootout at the OK Corral type music in the background.
It totally has that like country anthem, southern rock vibe to it. They need to take it up a notch. If I'm critiquing this song, they got to take it to the next level. They need a heavy part here, Chico.
I like it, Bohm, and you're just the guy to add to it later on tonight around 4 a.m. in a TikTok video. Yeah, absolutely.
Totally.
All right, let's play a little fair or foul on this Thursday edition of the Chico Borman Show.
Let's do it, Chico. I want to start off first off with another Ohio State player has announced that he will be returning to Columbus next season, Emeka Egbuka. We still have yet to hear from JT Tuimoloau, as well as Marvin Harrison Jr., and there's one more I'm missing.
Marvin Harrison I just came across. He just no surprise.
He declared?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we didn't see that one coming.
Yeah.
With that said, Chico, it really feels like Ohio State is getting a lot of guys returning, and they're really racking up the veteran leadership here coming in to this upcoming season. Fair or foul, you feel like they could really be poised to make a run this year?
I mean, yeah. I now again, that doesn't mean I don't know anything about. I'm not going to pretend to know everything about Will Howard. We won't know until he gets into the offense. But he's a guy that is a dual threat. He does present, certainly a guy that has many more snaps than anybody else in that quarterback room. But I think some of the keys here are you're getting guys on the defensive line. You're getting, secondary, Denzel Burke. Hancock, I mean, all these, Jack Sawyer up front, like all these guys coming back. The idea that if Travion does come back and you got this Judkins from Mississippi, wow. And, we talk about Marvin Harrison, which was no big surprise, but, you mentioned Emeka Egbuka. Now you're pairing him with Brandon Inniss, and you're putting him with, some of those other young receivers still coming in. I mean, Jeremiah Smith, who knows if he could play day one. So, yeah, and plus 12-team playoff. And there's a bad taste in the mouth right now. But I will say this. Those guys coming back certainly gives credence, much like it did before the bowl game. Now, the bowl game went south. But remember before the bowl game when all those guys opted to play in the game, everybody's like, well, enough of that BS about the program going to hell, because guys are still playing, and a lot of these guys decided to come back. So I'll give you credit, Bohm, because you said you thought that was a good read on them coming back, and I said I wasn't so sure on that, but it's appearing that way now.
Yeah, and I certainly love that mentality from these Buckeye players. I think my biggest questions heading into next season have to be what can you expect out of Will Howard? And is the offensive line going to be able to keep him upright? Because right now, I mean, all of those veteran guys that you're going to have in that college football locker room, I think it's just invaluable to their success next season.
That was one of the worst offensive line performances I've ever seen
from
Ohio State at the bowl game. It was terrible.
Absolutely. I am concerned about that. I don't think they've gotten anyone from the portal on the offensive line. They're probably, you're getting a lot of guys returning, but I don't know if you have to consider some of the younger guys starting them.
Yeah.
Whatever. Okay, this is just a hypothetical. This is never going to happen, but this is a tweet that went viral, and I thought the concept was pretty hilarious enough to bring it up on the show. This is courtesy of Joe Butner. I don't know how you pronounce that last name. It's spelled kind of interestingly. He said, quote, "Hear me out. Bar rescue, but it's Saban helping out a program for a week. Chico, is that a show that you would have to watch?" Are you familiar with Bar Rescue?
Hang on a second. I want to really wow myself and everybody else, but it's like a bar, similar to like the restaurant stuff they do on the Food Network, where they're in shambles. Somebody comes in, they help them. Yeah,
basically like cusses them all out, fires the bad employees. Invigorates their program or their restaurant.
Because it wouldn't be genuine. You know what I mean? Like, it would be. And I don't even know if he wouldn't do that.
That's why I said it's hypothetical. That would never happen. But I thought the concept was phenomenal.
Yeah, who knows? He does have a sense. We've seen him work with Dion in the Affleck commercials, and the guy, we do this too much with him and Belichick. Like, oh, they have no personality. They do, but it just strikes me like I think Saban. I could be wrong here, but I think Saban is kind of he's going to disappear for a while. I think he just wants seriously to spend time with his family, and maybe he does get in broadcasting. Maybe there's something else that's interesting him, but I wouldn't be surprised at all to see him kind of go off the grid for a while and just enjoy some family time.
Yeah, I'm inclined to agree with you there, Chico. It feels like, everything that's been weighing on him just through the course of the season, it definitely feels like that's a guy who needs a little bit of a vacay, a little bit of an escape. But anyways, speaking of shows, maybe this one can pique your interest because so you've talked about the quarterback documentary in the past, following around some NFL quarterbacks. Well, Netflix is producing an NBA version of quarterback, basically going to follow around some NBA players. They include a list of LeBron James, who I think is part of the production of this show. Anthony Harris from the Timberwolves is another one. Donatas Sabonis is one of the players they're going to be following around. But basically is this a show, fair or foul? This is a show that moves the dial for you.
I'll definitely check it out. I really enjoyed that Netflix quarterback thing. I didn't think I would necessarily. Kirk Cousins, you already knew he was a good guy, but you got even more like how good of a guy and how tough he was, because he took some serious hits in that series in those games, and you saw just how tough he was. Mahomes, I said, like, wow, what a great teammate, what a good dude. And Mariota was kind of, Mariota, but yeah, I would tune in. If for no reason, I'd like to see LeBron. Now, is LeBron going to be like casted in this, or he's just like overseeing the production of it, his production company?
No, he's actually casted in it. Like, he's going to be involved. They're going to follow him around and include some of those, behind the scenes looks.
Who's the guy? You're saying Anthony? No, you're thinking of.
Yeah, I totally messed up that name. Anthony, what's his name? He was a former first round pick.
Yeah. Jeez, now I knew it wasn't that, but Harris, get over here, Harris. My name's not Harris. Go ahead, Bill.
I would be looking up that name right now, but I'm too busy.
No, I don't want to. You just concentrate on that.
Well, no, I want to play this clip for you, Chico.
Okay.
This is Toronto Raptors head coach Darko. I don't know how to pronounce that last name. Had quite an intense rant, Chico.
Yeah.
And so I wanted, I guess, play it for you. Take a listen.
Yeah.
23 free throws in that fourth quarter. What could you?
Thank you, Doug. That's outrageous. What happened tonight? This is completely BS. This is shame. Shame for the referees, shame for the league to allow this. 23 free throws for them, and we get 2 free throws in the fourth quarter. Like, how to play the game. I understand respect for all stars and all that, but we have star players on our team as well. How's possible that Scotty Barnes, who is all-star caliber player in this league, he goes every single time to the rim with force and trying to get to the rim without flopping and not trying to get foul calls. He gets 2 free throws for the whole game. How's that possible? How are you going to explain that to me? They had to win tonight? If that's the case, just let us know so we don't show up for the game. Just give them a win. But that was not fair tonight. And this is not happening first time for us. Scotty Barnes is going to be all-star. He's going to be the face of this league. And what's happening over here during whole season, I've been holding...
All right. Fair or foul, Chico? Do you think this is something that that the Raptors team will rally around? This, I guess, his sentiment, his disgust with refereeing.
I think they're probably enjoying it. And whether they rally around it, I don't know. A couple things about one. Now, you want to make Scotty Barnes the face of your franchise, okay? But I don't know about Scotty Barnes, the face of the league. Now that game they played the Lakers, am I right?
Yeah,
right. The Lakers. I will say this, okay? Like a guy like Anthony Davis, we often don't talk about it because when we talk about defensive players, our own Evan Mobley, Jaren Jackson, Wembanyama now, Wembanyama, I should say, not Naya. Wembanyama is another one. But Anthony Davis is an incredibly talented defensive player, and he does so without fouling, which is not easy to do. Now, I'm not totally dismissing everything Darko's saying there, but all I could think of was the character from Seinfeld, not the soup Nazi, but Abu. I can't think of his name. He's trying to open up a restaurant. Jerry tells him to open up a restaurant. He basically remakes the entire restaurant, and then nobody comes, and he's like, "Daddy, you very, very bad man. Shame. Nobody come. I make new restaurant because of you, and nobody come. Shame." That's what he sounded like.
Love a good accent, Chico, as
Thank
you know.
Thank you.
All right, so moving on to the NBA real quick.
We've been at the NBA for a while now.
Oh yeah, I guess we have.
Yeah.
You're right.
Yeah, it's all right.
Sticking in the NBA, Chico.
I feel like you just click on that NBA link, whatever sports site you're on, and you just roll down the list of.
My wherewithal is
Chico,
not at
fair
100%.
foul. That sources are saying the NBA draft should become a 2-night event. Go ahead.
Yeah, my wherewithal is not all there.
It's all right.
Anyway, so Steve Kerr with some interesting comments regarding his team after they've kind of stumbled out of the gates here early in the NBA season. He said he thinks the Warriors have lost their spirit, confidence, and belief. Fair or foul, do you consider the Warriors to be a champion contender this season?
No.
You think the run is over?
Well, I mean, like, when you say the run is over, like, you mean
the Clay Steph era of Warriors basketball?
Yeah, it's really the Steph era. I mean, the Clay era is done.
Splash Brothers, come on.
Steph can still, but no, they're. Where are they at in the standings? I mean, forget about. Not that I just need that. I mean, they haven't. They did get Draymond back though, I believe, which obviously that was kind of interesting, by the way.
Warriors sitting at the 12th seed right
Yeah.
now, by the way. It's 17 and 20.
Yeah, Bohm, I would say that. Now, granted, it's not. They're 3 games below 500, but I would say that yes, the championship run has ended. And Bob Myers has moved on. A lot of these guys are, they've got to kind of retool. Steph's getting up there. Some young guys didn't work out. They've been dangling, haven't they been dangling Kuminga?
Yeah.
Wiseman's gone. It's just a lot of stuff, a lot of things that they anticipated happening for one last little run just has not happened.
All right, now let me follow up with this. Fair or foul, do you expect Steph to finish his career in Golden State?
Yes. Yeah, I think he will. I don't think there's any. They know how much he means to that city, to the organization, the fan base. I mean, yeah, I can't see them. And I think no, I shouldn't say that. I mean, nowadays it's very iffy, very risky to go ahead and say anybody's not going anywhere. But I think the Warriors would be hell-bent on making sure that he retires a Warrior.
They may be the Warriors, but their fans might be Warriors right now.
Yes.
So I want to shift gears back to the NFL. Because
Hey, all right.
you kind of touched on it a little bit with the Tennessee Titans moving on from Vrabel and that owner, Strunk. I don't remember her full name. It's like 3 names, but anyway.
Amy
something Strunk.
Yeah.
Anyway, the point is, it feels like there's more and more like tidbits coming out that maybe suggest a hint of incompetence from ownership or from the people hired by ownership. Where, like, for example, I saw this this article from The Athletic talking about one of the Titans' wins in which they came out winning 28-27.
She was gone. Yeah.
Yeah, and they were down 27-13 with 4:34 left in the game. Vrabel elected to go for 2, and they converted it. But supposedly, a member of the team's analytics staff didn't think Vrabel should have gone for 2 on that late touchdown, which I don't understand that in the first place. But all of these little reasons that Strunk is finding, and you heard her come out in a public interview sort of talk about how they didn't want to trade him. They just wanted to get the process over with and start looking for someone new. Fair or foul, if you're a Titans fan, are you worried about ownership making a bad decision here moving forward?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, and they are. Yeah. Now, I don't doubt that, like, I will say that, both sides played a role, but I think if anybody gets the benefit of the doubt and gets a longer leash, it has to be Vrabel. I mean, this guy's been great for you, and I know I keep going back to it, but, like, he still hasn't gotten over the A.J. Brown trade. Then they bring in Rand Carthon, and he liked Rand Carthon, but he's like, look, and I believe he went to Amy Adams Strunk and said
Adams, that's what it was.
And said to her, like, look, I like Rand Carthon, but make him like assistant GM. Like, he's not ready. I don't think he's ready yet to be a GM. And it wasn't like she said, well, I'm going to respectfully disagree. I appreciate your thoughts. Like, she was mad. And then it got to a point where, remember I mentioned the Patriots Hall of Fame. She went out there, or Vrabel went out there, did his speech, and so she didn't talk to him. I think from that point on, she really didn't say two words to the guy. And neither did he. So, yeah, it's not a good situation right now. And, I'm not saying that he's not at all culpable, but, man, that guy's a pretty good coach. So if I'm a Titans fan, yeah, I'm kind of nervous right now.
Yeah, big shoes to fill there. And also even bigger shoes to fill at Alabama. And we talked about it a little bit in terms of who could replace Nick Saban. And it feels like, boy, that's a tough ask for any incoming coach. Dan Lanning was rumored to have been in Tuscaloosa yesterday. That proved to have been a false report. And he was not, as he reaffirmed his allegiance, sticking with Oregon. I don't know if you happened to see it, though, yesterday, Chico. Some fans gathering around the Nick Saban statue in Bama country and chanting something to the effect of, "We don't want Dabo," who Sweeney, of course, was a Bama alum. Fair or foul, if you're Alabama, you don't even bring Dabo in for an interview.
I'm going to say, well, do you bring him in for an interview? Yeah, you can talk to him. But, I mean, here's the thing. Saban, as much as he wasn't happy with the state of college athletics, at least was like, okay, well, if I have to go to the portal, I have to go to the portal. Nobody feels like it feels like I'm saying if you have to go to the porta potty, you go to the porta potty. But it's like, yeah, if I have to go to the transfer portal, fine, I will. Dabo, as we know, has been adamantly against it. And to the point where Clemson fans are like, dude, I mean, we get that you don't like the state of college sports, but our program is suffering because you're hell-bent on, a value that, yeah, it's commendable, but at the end of the day, you're tasked with winning football games. They pay a lot of money to you, and others pay money to that university to watch and to support the university and the football program for you to win games. And if you're not going to give them the best chance, yeah, he ain't getting that job. No.
Can we normalize calling it the portal potty?
Bum, you were waiting for like
I
5 minutes for that.
You inspired that one, Chico. Thanks for the inspo.
You're welcome.
All right, so anyway, some of the other names that are being considered, or well, I shouldn't say considered, but some big names that are available as potential coaches who might have big buyouts. Yeah, Lanning had the biggest buyout at $20 million. Second biggest buyout would be Kalen DeBoer for the Huskies with $12 million. Dabo would have a $7.5 million buyout. Mike Norvell has far and away the smallest of the big names, I would say, that might be in contention to be pursued for that Bama vacancy at only $4 million. Fair or foul, would Mike Norvell move the dial for you as Nick Saban's replacement?
Well, okay, we have to really set this up a different way. Would it move the needle for me? No, nor is it going to move the needle for anybody from Alabama. Like, we have to understand, again, whoever this is replacing Nick Saban. Like, as much as like a guy like Lane Kiffin, who coached there and probably still has strong ties there, I'm sure some guys like him and some fans even like him, like, he's not Nick Saban. So, like, there is nobody. I mean, they're short of Bear Bryant, smelling salts short of Bear Bryant coming back and coaching the Tide, nobody is going to be accepted right away. Even if they had ties to Alabama before, I think Lane Kiffin might have the smoothest landing spot than most. Kirby Smart would make a lot of sense, but Kirby isn't going to leave Georgia. No way, no how, nor should he, and they won't let him, and that's fine. So, yeah, I think you're kind of limited. No, Norvell, to answer your question, foul. Norvell's not moving the needle, but I don't think it's a knock on Norvell as much as it is. You're not going to find any fan out there that's going to be like, all right, cool, I'm all right, especially like right now. They said they want to hire somebody by the weekend. Fans are still, they're still laying oatmeal cream pies at the foot of that statue and just bawling their eyes out.
It's going to be a long grieving process and a long offseason for Alabama fans. I honestly, Lane Kiffin, I think, intrigues me because I feel like he's got to be a dark horse in all of this. My most distinct memory of Lane Kiffin is always going to be when he was coaching the offense with Amari Cooper, right? And he would put his arms up in the air because he would know it was a touchdown right when the moment the ball was snapped. You remember that happened like 3 times in a season where Amari would just run a go route and he'd see the way that Amari beat him off the line of scrimmage and just be like, oh, that's a touchdown. I love that.
Great route runner. He was, like I said, great route runner, even, all the way back to college. But, yeah, he was hopefully going to be doing a lot more of that on Saturday. Is that it for Fair or Foul, Ball?
That is Fair or Foul, Chico.
Boom, thank you very much. That was a good edition of Fair or Foul. Folks, if you need bet credits for football season, the Big Play Network, as always, as you know, is presented by Tipico Sportsbook. Tipico Sportsbook app has your traditional bets like the money line, spread, and point totals, but also lock in player props. Check out our Big Play boosts every single week to back your favorite Cleveland teams and athletes with the best odds in Ohio. Get in the action, load up for football season using promo code BIGPLAY100. You will get $100 in bet credits on us, plus a $30 dog pound bet. Bet with the Big Play crew all season long with Tipico Sportsbook. All right, we'll come back. News of the day from Berea is not good news. It's not end of the world news, but it's still not good news as the Browns get ready for the Titans here in a little more than 48 hours. So we'll tell you what that is and wrap things up. We got a busy show for you tomorrow. Dan Lobby, Cleveland.com, and the Plain Dealer will give us the very latest on that injury report. And also we are going to talk to Christopher Price from the Boston Globe. Belichick is out. Who might be in? All kinds of good stuff going on tomorrow's show. But we will put a wrap on this one when we come back. Chico Borman Show right here on the Big Play Sports Network. Chico Borman Show here on a Thursday on the Big Play Sports Network. Good to have you along. Follow us on Twitter at Chico Show CLE. Also on the YouTuber thing, go over to YouTube, type in the Chico Borman Show, hit subscribe if you are not already. Also available wherever you get your podcasts. That would include Apple and Spotify. Now, before I go any further, get into the news of the day, which unfortunately is not great news, but we'll get to it anyway. Bohm, while in the break before coming back, informed me, Chico, I had a very concise Browns fair or foul for you. And the word concise is what really stood out to me. Because sometimes, they get a little long-winded, and that's okay, and we all do that. But when you said concise, you could have said, Chico, I have a very concise women's hockey question for you. And I would have said, all right, let's go. Let's go. Nothing against women's hockey. I just don't really follow it that much. But concise Browns fair or foul. What do you got, Bo?
Fair or foul, Chico. Joe Flacco is more likely to throw for 4 touchdowns than he is to throw 0 interceptions in Saturday's matchup.
Look at you. More likely to throw for 4 touchdowns than he is for 0 interceptions.
Feels like he's always good for 1 INT.
I'm going to say foul, and that's okay. Like he could very easily throw 3 touchdowns, 1 interception, 4 touchdowns, 1 interception. Could be a draw there. But he's going to have a pick. He might even have 2. This is where I will say, and I'm concerned. Well, like I said, I'm not nervous, right? Although, again, if you're just tuning in, mentioned this earlier, but they are, Mary Kay, among others, reporting out from Berea that Denzel Ward injured his knee in practice today. He is unclear. It is unclear, I should say, if he will be ready to go Saturday afternoon at 4:30 against the Texans. That is a bummer. He was just getting healthy and was healthy from the shoulder injury, which made me feel all the more better about this game. I still feel good about it. I will say this, though. Remember I said on yesterday's show that some people are accusing me of being, you're jinxing it because you're saying you think it's going to be easy. And I'm like, no, I never said it's going to be easy, but I have confidence that they're going to win. I will say this. I don't want to just dismiss the interceptions like they're no big deal because it is the playoffs. Now, I think they can overcome it because I think Joe Flacco himself can overcome them with touchdowns. I think the defense is, maybe it's a shootout. A lot of people are saying that. I do think the defense is going to be able to make some plays. I think CJ makes some plays as well because he's CJ Stroud. But I think press man coverage, which, the Titans have not, and CJ Stroud has not been good against, and the Browns are really the best in the league at it. CJ's numbers against zone, he's 68%. Against man, you can cut that in half. Well, what do the Browns play, and what do the Browns play as well as anybody? Man. So I think that holds up. I mentioned the matchup. They had 15 pressures and 2 sacks against one guy on the Houston offensive line last time on Christmas Eve. That was Charlie Heck. And Myles Garrett wasn't even really lined up against him a whole lot. So now, if you get aggressive with that matchup, the interceptions, though, we can't, as they are now in the playoffs, and we're hoping get deeper in the playoffs, we cannot just say, oh, well, no big deal, intercept. That's going to bite you. In the postseason, it's going to bite you. Now, like I said, if he throws an interception, it's not the end of the world. You don't want him to throw probably more than 2, and if he's going to throw 2 interceptions, you don't want them to be, and we all know because we've been here the last few years, the interceptions where you're like, no, not there, and not then. But it is something that I'm not just, I don't want to make it sound like, well, no big deal. It's still a turnover. Just because it's Joe Flacco and we love him, it's still a turnover, and you want to avoid those at all costs, but certainly in the postseason. I'm trying to read the tea leaves a little bit here. The Browns aren't going to say anything about about Denzel, and I get it. But if I were a betting man, it sounds like he might not play. Limited after practice, questionable. Now you got to get on a flight. That's probably not going to make matters any better. I mean, I know that it's not, he's not traveling by a Cessna single engine or anything like that. But I don't know. We'll see. Tomorrow we'll certainly know more. Dan Lobby. Before I say that, before I shoot my mouth off. Yeah. Okay. So Dan Lobby looks like for now is good for 12:10. If he can get an earlier flight, we may have to rearrange some stuff. But Dan Lobby, Cleveland.com, and the Plain Dealer, 12:10. Coming up later in the show tomorrow, just after 1 o'clock, we've got Christopher Price of the Boston Globe. Bill Belichick is out. How did it go down? And is it really, are the rumors probably leading to fact that Mike Vrabel will be the next Patriots head coach? Still a lot of, stuff to be talked about there, but we'll discuss it with Christopher Price tomorrow on the show. My thanks to Mitch Lawrence. Great stuff from him. And again, the breaking news, Denzel Ward injured his knee in practice today, and it is unclear. He is listed right now as questionable to be ready for Saturday. And Grant Delpit, by the way, who was cleared for practice this week, great news, still great news, but he is listed as out for Saturday's game as well. We'll keep you updated, keep it right here to the Big Play Network. I'm Mike Chico Borman for Michael Bohm, all of us here at Big Play. Folks, enjoy the rest of your Thursday, everybody. See you.